Hi and welcome back to Auto Insania. Now, this has been a bit of a delayed video coming out because I've been waiting to get a project car, a new daily, something that I can use and basically do a bit of tuning on. This is another offshoot of the channel. We like our classic cars, but we also like our more modern stuff. And I've been looking at the thing now that it seems to be a craze that everyone's moving to diesels. Well, not moving to. EVs are still the big news at the moment, but diesels have become, rather than being the dirty old canal boat engine things that they used to be in the 70s and 80s, are now sporty cars, fast. You know, people are tuning them and making big power with diesel-powered cars. So, as I usually do, I sat down and I had to think about this. A new diesel daily. What do I need? Well, I thought, I'm a small diesel, physically sized, so it's lightweight. Powder weight is always the best thing to have. I wanted a smallish engine, and that way something that can be basically tuned. So any addition of power would be an improvement. So bigger intercooler, remap, bigger injectors, things like that. So if I started with something fairly low power to start with, the increases and changes would be very noticeable. Now, so I sat down with this list, made a list of small capacity diesels. And also the thing with a small capacity diesel is that usually you've got cheap road tax. So I did my usual thing, made the list, checked it through, looked at what I was looking at, and then I did it again. I bought something completely different. This is Auto Insania.
Reporting to the British Transport Police.
So here we are at Yeovil Pen Mill Station, the first stop on our journey. We've got to take a connecting bus across town to Yeovil Junction, and then we're heading down on the next train down then through to Axminster, heading down towards Lyme Regis, which is where the car is. Bit of an adventure. I've done these a few times with, on trains to go and get vehicles, so it's a bit of fun. This one's a bit of a pain because, as I said, there's a bus in the middle for a very short journey, but, you know, this time last year I was doing a 175 mile one to where was that to? I think now. Bedford. That was right. 175 miles to Bedford, which required 3 trains and a tube. And as I say, this one's fairly short, about sort of around about 50 miles. So not too bad. Not too bad at all. Okay. Well, let's wait for this bus and then we'll keep on moving. See you at the next stop. Yeah, so here we are at Yeovil Junction, lovely old Victorian red brick station. So it's Victorian because you look at the canopy, it's all nuts and bolts rather than welding. My second train is due in about 5 or 6 minutes' time. The old buildings here is beautiful. And the railways ruled. Got the old engine shed down there. Water tower would have filled the steam trains when they came in the 50s and 60s. What a beautiful near that was. And a car park for the usual, everything you know is grey, white, black, metallic light blue. It's a sea of boredom. Apart from a very blue Skoda. Oh, and a red Vauxhall, I think, or Fiat. But as I say, this is the world we live in where all cars are now grey. Anyway, onwards with the journey. And this is what greeted me. A once cherished but now slightly forlorn car that had been sat since probably middle of November last year. It had only done about 50 miles since the last MOT, since its previous owner had it. And unfortunately, as happens in a lot of these cases, the owner had passed away. And we should always be respectful of people's grief and the situation they're in. So, we're looking for a small diesel. Yeah, it's quite a big car. We were looking for some more capacity, something sort of, 1500cc diesel, cheap tax, whatever. 2.2. Yeah, you can see where this is going. As I say, so cheap to run, cheap tax, something that's not highly tuned. So any improvement's going to be a big improvement. It's a sporty one, so it's 180 brake horsepower. It's kind of the top end of what this engine will do. I mean, they will remap, but it's only really to 210, so the improvements are not going to be great. So, yeah, kind of didn't go to plan. However, it was, in my own words, too cheap to turn down. Now, whether that'll end up being a horror story, because these 2.2s have a bit of a reputation. The engines have an issue with basically regeneration and DPF problems. So basically, they tend to thin out their own oil by dilution with diesel. So when they regenerate, they basically flood the engine with extra fuel to get the temperature up. And if it doesn't regenerate properly, then basically what it does is just fills the sump. They even actually have a marker on the dipstick, a little X above the full sign, which basically you should never let the oil get above that mark, because basically then your oil is very much sort of has a high percentage of diesel in it. The DPFs on these are quite easy clogged, as is the inlet manifold. They also suffer with injector leaks. So a really practical purchase, this one. A little scary, but as I say, the spec of the car for the price I paid was actually very good. Being the Sport, we have body kits. We have factory option 18-inch wheels. This is actually a triple black option, which is really rare. So basically, we've got black outsides. Inside is black leather. Well, half leather. It's got nearly every option known to man on it. I think it's only the Hill Start Assist is the only button that doesn't have a button for it. We've got heated seats. We've got Bose stereo. We've got just all the toys. Dual zone climate, fully functional steering wheel with cruise, voice controlled telephone system on the radio, 6-disc in-disc changer in the dash. So yeah, and the car, sadly, the pride and joy of a gentleman called Paul, who lived down in Dorset, or near in the Dorset area. I won't say exactly where. He loved this car, and as I say, it was his pride and joy, and he put a lot of accessories and bits on it, and just bought the nicest spec he could find in the best colour, in my opinion. Now, unfortunately, Paul became ill in November of last year. I'd been feeling rough for quite a while, became ill in November of last year, and ended up going into hospital, where he sadly passed away in the middle of December. Now, the car sat unused. His family's still stunned and in shock from how rapidly he had declined and passed away, and didn't really know what to do with the car. Eventually, in the new year, they advertised the car, going on prices on garage forecourts, which are a little on the high side, to be honest. I'm not being rude to them. But after a while, they came down to a sort of a more respectable price, realising that the car had been stood and there was a few issues that needed to be sorted from the standing around. Cars never like to be stood around. We know this to be true. So basically, the car needed a darn good valet. I've actually given it a good wash, and it really needs a polish, but it's actually in really good nick. It's a 2010 plate, so I mean, it's a 16-year-old car at the end of the day. For me, this is like buying, a new car. But as I say, so eventually, after a while, they put the car onto Facebook Marketplace with an open to offers inquiry. I inquired about the car, about its status, about any problems, and basically made an offer, which was accepted. And touching wood, basically, it's been, so far I've owned it just about a week, and it's at the moment going okay. It scares me to death, the DPF and oil problems, but there's no warning lights on the dash apart from a tyre pressure warning light, system white light, which the tyre on the passenger side front has got a slow puncture. But as I say, it was almost, if you could put it this way, it was a barn find, because basically it had been stored in the carport barn of a farm that Paul and his family lived on, and had sat around. I'm going to put some stills pictures up now of what it looked like on the adverts and how it had been stood, and basically how it is now. As I say, still needs a very good valet inside. Paul had a dog, I'm guessing something like a Jack Russell Terrier, because there's lots of little fluffy hair everywhere. So, but again, it's not bad. You know, at the end of the day, it's a 16-year-old car. It's got 127,000 on it, which is really good for a 16-year-old. There's a few nicks and scratches, but it's got a good set of tyres on it, and 6 months MOT. So this is my new daily. You may be noticing a distinct lack in space here where there used to be the Demio. So, because of my relatively low budget, there always has to be a car in and a car out. And I don't mind moving on cars to fellow enthusiasts. And just a few nights ago, a gentleman came around and I'd advertised the Demio on Facebook. Had a massive amount of interest in it. Turns out that the car was actually very rare, that there was only, as far as we knew from the other owner of the other one, there was only 2 of them still around in that colour scheme and model. And so basically, a gentleman who lived about 25 miles away from me near Bristol picked up the car, and he's a Mazda fanatic. He's got MX-5s, he's got all sorts of stuff. His daily's another Mazda, and he just wanted it to add to his collection. So that's gone to a good person. And this is going to be the new daily. As I say, it is, for me, super modern. It is very comfortable, very long-legged, powerful when you want it, economical when you don't. As I say, we are waiting on service parts. But so this is the new daily. We've named it Yasuki. Now, I like to give cars a bit of a name that basically has some sort of meaning to them or anything. So it's a Japanese car, obviously being Mazda, but Yasuki was the one and only African-origined feudal Japan samurai ever trained, according to legend. So, being a Japanese car, and it's just sort of got that kind of, no offense, Yakuza Hitman kind of look, it kind of seemed to make sense. So let me know in the comments what you think of the name and what you think of the new car. I know it's a bit modern for the channel, but sometimes we need things to drive to get us to work about that are comfy and plush. And as I say, this was not my plan at all, but under the cover, we now have good weather again. We're going to be getting back, not long from now, onto the Auto Union project. So we'll see you in that episode. There'll be more coming up on floor pan, more coming up on restoration of the roof, and some more paintwork and detailing. So it's bye for now, and I'll see you again in the next episode.